Welcome back to Minetest Gameplay of sorts. And, yeah. Is this a new house build? Nope. This is part of the ongoing tutorial series on why and when we should use double walls. And if you like what you see here, please consider liking and subscribing. It's greatly appreciated. Yeah. Okay. Enough with that. Behind me is a little demonstration area. Kind of bad looking. A lot of connected textures. Ooh, we hate connected textures. A lot of disapportionate, bad looking. I'm not redoing this. Nope. It looks out of proportion. And so basically I asked for ideas on tutorials and whatnot. And one person asked how I do thick walls and why. Well, one of the reasons why, as you can see here, is we have a lime green wall on an adjoining room, and we have hardened clay everywhere else. Well, I don't like that light sticking out. I don't want the hardened clay ceiling. And let's say in this room, I don't want to look at the brick exterior. Or I don't want the exterior to be white hardened clay. And look at this. There's a bathroom above us. And how do we fix that? And this lime green wall is absolutely hideous. You know, the tenant in this room would say. So here's why we will use different techniques, or what I use to fix that. One of the ways is you don't want the hardened white clay. You could use slabs of whatever material you want to use to hide that. Now, this is all depending on... Wow, that looks awful. This is all depending on whether or not you have enough, you've taken into consideration like wall height, and that looks much better, and everything else. So usually in my builds, I never go less than 3. 3, you know, they say a block is a meter. Well, I usually go anywhere from 3 to 4, because especially in different types of houses, that looks fine. That's one way of hiding a ceiling. You could use slabs, and that will kind of recess that light a little bit. But let's say I want to recess the light all the way. In some of my builds, I use my favorite recessed lighting. Well, that's not going to work because there's no room above. So that's why I would take into effect the double roof. That's not what I picked. Okay. And that looks a lot better. Unless I wanted that light to sit flush, in which case I would have to go and move up to the ceiling or up to the floor in the other room. So this is kind of cool, and you have to be able to look what's behind it. We have white hardened clay, so I can't replace that because it's going to affect the room upstairs. Same thing with this one. Whatever the room is upstairs, that's what you're stuck with. So let's go upstairs. Wow, look at that. That's hideous. Connected textures and everything. We need a wall there. But we will get to that. Now, one way is you could use carpet. That'll work. I've done that in some builds where I can't retrofit or put in 2 walls. But we have the luxury of going anywhere we want, so we can put in a floor, a double thick floor. And that will solve that problem. But we've created another problem. So and as you're going to find out, everything here, you're going to have to make concessions and compromises, because if you go ahead and you do a double floor ceiling type deal, it looks real pretty, except now the stairs are off. And I've been lucky in some of my builds where the adjoining texture is okay, or it's hidden by a rail. You know, you put in health and safety, you put in some railing, so it kind of hides that, which is kind of cool. But when you come up, now you have two different textures, and it is a connected texture, but it's a concession that you have to make. And depending on what the roofing material is over here, that's kind of cool, just like that, where you have part of the roof. And that right there, we accidentally came out with another. So you can see here, we have that in the background. It's not bad. There's also thin glow lighting, which will cover up that entire part and give you another different desired effect. So if I went over here and went into my inventory, I should have had this out. We have a thin light, which covers the entire square. That's not a thin light. There's a thin light. We could do that and leave it like that, or we can do that. So you have different ways of doing that. One of the other considerations to take into effect if you do a double wall is it's going to throw off your doorways. In my castle build, there was a doorway where the outside looked perfect. The exterior was fine. Everything was symmetrical, but I didn't mean to do that. But the interior suffered because of the way that the wall sat. Excuse me, I'm doing a tutorial here. Have a nice day. So, whenever you do a double thickness, now obviously I've butchered this room up beyond repair because I can't add anything there. You can always do something like that to create detail and level. That's kind of cool. Even in the corner, let's play with this. Yeah. But you get the idea. And like I said, everything, that's kind of neat, actually. But this has to be, if it was one higher, that would be even cooler. Depending, you may have an attic like that. You have to play around with that. I usually do 3 high doors. One of the problems with doing a 3 high door is it looks ugly. Especially if on the other side, you make it nice with, using a stair. You give it depth. I might have an exterior wall here mimicked with something equally, to combat the connected textures and make it look cool. So by doing double walls and thickness, here's another one. We could either use the half slabs like we did on the other one, and it's not going to lower the ceiling that much. If we wanted hardened clay as our ceiling material. We didn't want the hardwood, because if we change the hardwood floor above it, obviously that's defeating the purpose of the flooring system that we have up there. So, and my choice of materials, you're going to have a different opinion on it of what you use. And that's it's basically, there's no wrong way. It's like in databases, there's no real wrong way of doing something. There's just better ways of doing it. And it's to each his own. Now I've lowered my ceiling height to 3. I don't want this exterior wall. So by doing this, we fix one issue, but we create, like I said, for every time it seems like you have one issue, you create another one. So we can do things like add detail to that. Let's say there's nothing going to be there. We could do simple things like that, or we can. There's a multitude of different things that we can do. I used the wrong slab. What's that? Everything's going to give me a hassle here. Dark gray slab. Let's try that. That should work. Dark gray hard. Yes. You could do something like that. Create a desk. Unfortunately, we can still see the brick, but that's one of the concessions that you'd have to make. Or you can, use different glass. I can't find my clear. Where's my clear glass? There it is. Move the window in. We could do a lot of different things like that. So now we fixed the ceiling and just made it dark out. We fixed the ceiling. We fixed the wall, but now we're 2 away from here and we're 3 away from here. So you might have to move your door if that doesn't bother you, having this off. That bothers me. But I don't want the green wall, so I am going to double wall it. The other thing that happens when you use double walls, you have a connected texture, and it's all how you want to deal with that. It's all personal preference on, how you want to make that transition. You could always go something like, on one of the rooms, you can continue that and make it like it's an outline or a door frame. But that's kind of bad. It all depends on what's on this other side of the wall that you're connecting to. I really don't mind connected textures and doorways, because there's really not a lot of stuff that you can do to prevent that. And you could do this on the other side to give it more depth. Now, we've done this, we've double thicked our walls without changing the exterior walls, and we've made this room considerably smaller. So that's another consideration that you have to take into effect. And then on the outside of the build, you could do something fancy with stairs and different things. Like out here, we've kind of put some columns up, and if this was an exterior build, that's one way of combating the texture differences. But everything is going to be different, how you approach it, and you have to take into consideration what's on the other side of that wall, like these tiles. Why is it dark out all of a sudden? So if we come over here, this is where we want our bathroom. This is the flooring that we want to use. However, we can't do this because it's upsetting the neighbor, and the neighbor wants hardened clay. So we have to come up with some other way, and the only other way is to double thick our bathroom walls. And obviously this would be an outside wall for a bathroom, but there again, it's going to severely limit how much room, let's say, you had for said bathroom, or this is a shower or something like that. And I'm just doing this real fast. It does take a lot of, you have to put in a lot of planning on, especially if you want to use different type. That looks really cool though, as a shower backsplash. So flooring, I would put up with that. That's not a deal breaker for me because there's most likely going to be like glass doors or something else there partitioning that off. So it's all personal preference on how you want to deal with like the transitions. So real quickly, we're going to cut to some examples. Now, other things that double walls allow you to do is to create custom shapes and stuff like that. So if you have too thick, walls of the same color, you can cut into that wall and you can do some cool things with it. Like I can create, now I want my carpet bag. Give me my carpet bag. Let's take wool. I should just use the glass shelves. Oh well. So let's say I want to create some shelving. It allows you can do things like that. Yeah, there's a lot of other different things that you can do by having double thick walls. You can make different designs in the walls. You can make, that's not what yeah, that was what I wanted. Thank you. You know, you could do little cutouts and shelves, or you could turn the stairs this way. Not gonna let me do it. No. Of course, because I want to do something, it's not going to. Did it do it? Did it do it? No, it didn't. Well, sort of. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cheat, use a screwdriver to place it the way I want it. I should have done that in the first place. But you get the idea. It's going to allow you to do different things and make different. Yeah, that looks bad. But you get the idea how you're going to be able to a stair design going up by using that with little holes in it would look kind of cool. And it's all about creating different levels of what you want to express. And like I said, you can see obviously we've shortened the distance, the usable space in this room by adding double thickness, but we also have changed the room colors. So if you don't want all white rooms and you want to add some color in, you could do something like that. Ooh, I didn't fix that. However, what we're going to do is we are going to fly over to a couple examples. All right, we're over by the glass house. And in here, this is where one place where I could not use double thick walls because it would affect the outside of the build. So we have the silver sandstone flooring up here, material of the one downstairs. And unfortunately, without affecting the thickness of the build, which would add another row or a couple rows, it would throw everything off. In the cyan house, however, I did use double floors, but not double walls, because I was content with the cyan color throughout the theme of the house. We have oak floors on the top, but yet on the bottom we have white hardened clay. And if we go down to the basement, we have cyan walls on this side, which I could have changed. However, on this one, we have stone walls. Now, it's real easy if you're building into a side of a hill or a cliff, because then obviously you could change, as you saw there, you could change the color of that without affecting how the room looks. But over in the next example, in here, I used a lot of double walls. This room is magenta. the the walls, with the exception of the outer wall, which I could have done. However, it would have severely limited that bathroom. So I left that as an accent wall. All the walls were done in different colors. And this room is blue. And again, it has an accent color for the wall. It kind of worked in. It wasn't worth lessening the room size of either two rooms. But if you look down this hallway, there's an awful long distance between it. So you can figure there's 6 feet. If each block is a meter, roughly 3 feet, you added 6 feet to your overall build. And that goes the same thing for bathrooms and everything else. And exterior, every time you add a layer of wall, it's going to affect your overall build. But basically, that's how I do, and the reasons why I do double thick walls, and go from there. Like I said, it all happens in your planning stages of how you're going to deal with your builds. Here we have spruce flooring, yet the basement, we have stone ceilings. But yet, in here we have hardened clay ceilings. Basements are easier because you can still get your height without affecting your build because it's all hidden underground. Nobody's going to know. It's the ones where it's all above level. So hopefully that explained how and why I will use, double thick walls and everything else of the sort, and how I use different techniques of hiding, bare spaces and height, and go from there. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. And please check out more tutorials and give more ideas on what you want to know. And we'll go from there. So thank you very much for watching, and everybody have a fantastic day. Goodbye.